brought to you by ExpressCare Health and Skin Center. Get in, get out, get better.
Welcome back. With the growing trend of extreme sports and the recent reports of intense physical training, how much is too much? Joining me now with all the information is ExpressCare's Dr. Jitka Lom. Welcome, Doc.
Hi, Jolene.
All right, so let's talk about this growing trend and how it may pose some health risks.
Sure.
First of all, what are some of the signs of heat exhaustion and heat stroke?
Heat exhaustion and heat stroke are a little bit different. In both situations, your body temperature, your core temperature goes very high, and it's sort of like having a fever from the extreme activity that you've been doing, and usually it's combined with some dehydration as well. And the difference between heat exhaustion and heat stroke as far as symptoms is that in heat stroke your brain is affected, so there's mental confusion, collapse, inability to focus and concentrate, and sometimes in extreme cases even a coma. But in both situations the person will feel weak, muscle cramps, spasms, nausea, vomiting, tremendous weakness and fatigue, and feeling, of course, very hot.
Yeah, I remember growing up, I attended a liberation parade once, and I ran from my grandmother's house, which is by the Pico Cemetery, to KFC in this extreme heat. And by the time I got to our spot, I just felt like I wanted to just sleep. I just felt so tired. And I think it's because maybe I was dehydrated. So can you explain to me, how does dehydration occur?
Well, the dehydration occurs because when we're exercising in extreme temperatures, we are, of course, perspiring, but we may not notice how much we're perspiring because it's already, very hot and humid outside, and we're not able to cool sufficiently. So we keep using more and more water as a coolant in our body to try to cool down our core temperature. And in 1 hour of exercise, you can easily lose a liter or even 2 liters of liquid, even up to 3 liters in 1 hour of exercise in an extreme sport, in an extreme temperature. So especially if you're not used to doing that, you haven't acclimatized yourself, you're usually used to being indoors and now suddenly you're outside in that terrible heat, you can really lose a lot of fluid very, very rapidly, become unaware of that, raise your body temperature, and then you're in a downward spiral.
All right. Now, what is rhabdomyolysis?
Very good. Rhabdomyolysis. Rhabdomyolysis is a condition where your muscle actually dies due to the extreme heat and lack of hydration and a tremendous acidity. Basically, it's muscle breakdown. And when we talk about warming up our muscles, right, when we're exercising, we are actually physically heating them up when they're moving and so on. Then you have the heat of the external environment, and sometimes some medications can also make this worse. For example, antihistamine medication, things like Sudafed if you have a congestion. Certain other medications can also, for example, cholesterol lowering medication can make you more prone to this type of thing. So then you get somebody who's already on that kind of medication, they're not used to doing these extreme activities, and now they're out there in the heat, and the muscles heat up to the point where they die. And when muscles release, when they die and they release all those toxins into our bloodstream, it goes through our system and can really hurt our kidney. It's like a massive protein load for our kidneys, and also the tremendous acidity can make us very, very ill. So there's usually a lot of pain with that muscle breakdown and weakness and swelling.
Okay. Now, when people engage in extreme sports or intense physical activity, they usually have that mindset of pushing past the pain or continuing and not giving up. But at what point should they actually stop, and so that they don't fall victim to this?
Yes, it's a very excellent question. How far do you push? So there's a question of conditioning, right? So let's say if you need to acclimatize to our climate, let's say you're coming here for the Xterra Challenge or something like that, you're not used to the hot temperatures, you need 1 to 2 weeks to just get used to the heat. Same thing if you're usually an indoor person, now you're going to start running outside. You need a couple of weeks to let your body adjust, and what happens is that your body develops a higher blood volume. You actually have more blood in your system when you acclimatize, and more fluid in your system, so you're able to cool better. So that's one thing. Another thing is that you really need to hydrate, because people don't realize, again, how much they're losing during that extreme exercise, and also they're not used to drinking sufficient amounts of fluid.
We talked about hydration, which of course cools the body.
Yeah.
But how does the body actually cool itself down?
Oh, so through 4 different ways. You have evaporation. Basically, the sweat evaporates and you feel colder. That's assuming that there's some airflow. Okay, you need that. Then there's through convection, meaning and convection and radiation. Those are 2 other ways where you don't need airflow. It's just basically coming off you, assuming that the outer environment is colder than you, which doesn't always happen around here. And then the 3rd way is through conduction. So you can basically apply an ice pack to yourself, and then that will absorb some of the heat out of your body. And another way that shouldn't be underestimated is through your breathing. When you breathe, you're actually evaporating some air, some fluid out through the air that you breathe.
Okay. Now, does drinking cold water help, or is warm water better?
Body temperature water would be better, because when you're shocking your body with cold on the inside, it can sometimes have a paradoxical or opposite effect. So not extremely cold water would be better.
And I've actually heard that drinking cold water makes your body work harder to actually reduce that temperature.
Yes,
in the cold
it's
water.
true. It's true, and you may also get cramps, stomach cramps, and actually vomit if you do that. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Doc.
Sure.
We are just getting started. We're going to